my learning experience will start in my home area in Western Kenya for the next few weeks. Consult, seek advice, but also seek blessings. On the basis of this, I'll come back to the national stage, where I intend then to formally declare the start of a campaign to seek to be the 5th President of the Republic of Kenya.
All right, so that is immediate former Secretary General of UNCTAD, that UN agency on trade and development. But now he wants to run for president here in Kenya, saying he will consult in Kimilili and then with the rest of the country. But he is decided, because he's saying after that he'll come and make a formal announcement. And this has been in the works, it would appear, for some time. Kaikai, there was a lot of rumor around this. And then a few days before this, there were all these reports that he was going to resign earlier than anticipated and actually come and make this announcement. And there he was.
And that's exactly what Mukhisa Kituyi has done. He has left his posting, I think, 3 months early to come and contest the presidency. And there was an announcement, a very interesting one, because we haven't heard what party. He's just declared that he wants to run for president. And I think what we saw earlier today, I don't know whether we have that picture, Robert. We can be showing what happened earlier today. We saw a picture of Mukhisa Kituyi meeting with ODM leader Raila Odinga right there. There is also,
there you go.
Is that Professor Kibwana? And
James Orengo.
James Orengo. There is something that can be said about 3 of the 4 in that photo. They were the young Turks in 1992 when Kenya went into the first multi-party elections. 3 of them coming from the Ford Kenya party, Raila Odinga, Mukhisa Kituyi, and James Orengo. And what would be remembered about the 1992 to 1997 parliament is the brilliance of some of those legislators that went in there. And that would include Mukhisa Kituyi, very strong debaters. I would suspect that one of the things that they must have reminisced about today is those years. And I really hope, Yvonne, they managed to talk about the fact that in terms of ideological founding of political parties, we are worse off today than we were in 1992 when these young Turks were coming to parliament. As presidential candidate, Mukhisa Kituyi has arrived on the scene without a party. He has not named, he has not told us what party he's running on, and that in itself tells us this is a big problem. Now, when we see him with Raila Odinga, when we see him with another presidential aspirant, I think Professor Kibwana has been hinting that he'll run for president. Then we don't know whether this is another alliance similar to the one that we saw in Western Kenya.
and interesting that it came actually just a day after that meeting in Matungu, and all of these salvos being directed at Raila Odinga, and then he comes and actually the tweet said, you know, just had brunch with, you know, and then I think the last line goes like, really great to see Mukhisa Kituyi after such a long time outside the country and all of that.
Yeah, which was interesting because Mukhisa was also at Raila's birthday party, I believe. Yeah, there's an image we saw of them, earlier in the year, you know.
I think it was on January 7th or thereabouts.
Yes, thereabouts, well, the entrance of Mukhisa Kituyi, also, you know, the systematic manner in which it's happening, he resigns and he comes into the country and he says, you know, he declares his intention and says he will go consult, doesn't tell us the party yet before he makes the formal announcement. There were just a couple of interesting things that came out on. I mean, of course, you already hear the tag of project being trying to stick that on him and his possible candidature. We shall see about that. But I found the interview he had on Sunday here with Jeff Koinange and Victoria Rubadiri rather interesting. He was very cautious in his responses, you know, sort of sat on the fence on a number of issues. When he was asked about the BBI, he said, well, you know, I've been out of the country for a while. I have not, you know, I was not party to the process, and it seems like the train has left the station, and so let's see what happens as it goes along. Found it interesting because it would have some far-reaching effects on our structure of governance, on the public wage bill of a country that he probably hopes to take over as fifth president of the nation, including the very fact of amending the constitution in itself, and whether, you know, the 2010 constitution has been implemented to the best of the ability of the current administration that has been the first to really midwife us into this new process. It was an interesting thing. I don't know about his demeanor. He was tired, obviously. He had just arrived that very same day. There was jet lag. You know, maybe there is more excitement to come out of him. We have seen it before, you know, when he was in politics in this country. But it is my hope that, you know, we start to see things like that. And I think also for me, this picture of him having brunch just doesn't help with the you know, what is it, the tag of project. That, in fact, he was actually, you know, those rumor and word about him and Raila Odinga. But, you know, it's brunch, it's lunch, it's tea, you know. But I don't know, in politics, is it ever really just brunch or lunch
there's no free tea or lunch in politics. There's always a message to it. And what is important is to keep our eyes trained on what is coming out of it. Immediately, I looked at a tweet by Honorable Raila Odinga, brunch with my long-time allies, Governor Kibwana, Mukhisa Kituyi, Senator James Orengo also showed up. Good seeing Dr. Kituyi after such a long time. I've gone through a few responses to that tweet, and there's one that captured my attention by a gentleman called Close or something like that. He's saying that Wetangula, Musalia and Kalonzo need to be very worried that probably this lineup is also a replacement to the previous NASA team that we saw. But be it as it may, I think it's a good thing when Mukhisa Kituyi and other political leaders join the fray. It expands the field, gives us more options in the menu as a country, and it's a good thing for our democracy. As Lynn has indicated earlier, when the incumbent is exiting, it's an open field. Everybody can jump in, everybody can join the fray, everybody can contest, and makes it an interesting one. Let everybody join. Let Kenyans have diversity in terms of the choices they will have on the ballot, in the menu, so to say. And I hope that the considerations that people will make when voting for A or B will be driven by certain things: ideology, the ability to work, the ability to develop the country, steer its economy, and so on and so forth. But if we were going to follow the same path that we followed previously of ethnic coalitions and everything else related to it, it may be problematic. But suffice to say, Mukhisa Kituyi, Daktari, has a lot of work on his hands. Which political parties is going to vie with? There are various options. One of the busiest offices in the last, let's say, 3-4 months has been the office of the Registrar of Political Parties. When you have hundreds of people making intentions, even almost 1,000 making intentions on political parties that they want to form, Chama cha Wazalendo, Chama cha Nani, and so on and so forth, he has a political party is the list of the worries, or the list of the issues that he has to grapple with. There are 1,000,001 political parties that are available. presently and that can be formed. What is important is how he intends to navigate this very dicey political environment that we call Kenya, that has certain considerations that always drive how people vote. He has a lot of work on his hands. Lastly, I saw a video from, I think it's the member of parliament for Lurambi.
Unachoma, boys.
I saw a video, and those are some of the issues that he has to grapple with. I saw that video. It did rounds, and Honorable Titus Hamala was saying that Mukhisa has not been attending funerals and burials, so he owes us akona deni yetu. And I thought, while it may be taken as a joke, those are some of the things that he is likely to face. How he surmounts them is the challenge that he has on his hands.
I think we need to give Yvonne the right of reply.
Yes, because we have been, my people have been adversely mentioned. Well, just to pick up on that, I mean, I think...
Lurambi and funerals, like... Okay, sorry.
But I was going to say, you know, the issue of funerals aside, it will be a thing for him that he's been out of the country. You know, he's a technocrat, that he's, you know, been on the outside. And it was something that he actually said, but, you know, when he was here on Sunday, that, you know, I've been out of the country for a while and I want to study what's happening. And who knows if this is something that would be used, you know, at the local grassroots to just say, but, you know, he's not been around, he's out of touch. You know, does he know how we live? Does he know what we need? On the flip side, though, it would be interesting to see what he has to say about the economy, which is a big issue right now, and not just due to COVID pandemic, but even before. The economy has been a big issue and is something that many Kenyans feel. And with his experience and expertise, will he be the person that starts to sort of shift the conversation onto bread and butter issues for Kenyans in a way that captures their imagination? That is what we wait to see from his announcement.
I see.
Okay, no. Just what I wanted to say, I think that what we have seen in the last couple of days, when Mukhisa Kituyi arrived and some of the things we've seen, just goes to show that actually he will have to find a way of fitting into the politics as it is, rather than operating from outside of it. That explains why he was fence-sitting on very important issues, because he knows that the BBI thing is a live wire. It is something that is current and people are talking about it. So you don't want to run afoul of any side before you really get a sense of who is who. So that's one thing that we're going to see. The next thing is that there are all these alliances that are going to shape up. He will have to be part of one. He cannot just, you know, kind of fly alone in his own orbit. I don't think he has to kind of find one of the alliances or be part of it. I think that's how it's going to work for him. Why? Because our politics has not changed that fundamentally. The drivers of our politics will still remain the whole thing of ethnicity and all of those things. So in a manner of speaking, all those things about what he has picked from the UN and all of these things would be good to have on a CV. But in terms of what gets you the votes out there, it really will depend a lot on who he is with, who is hanging out with, and who has what support from which part of the country. I really do not think that we've got to a point right now where you can say that he will come and chart a new path that we've never seen 17 months to the election. I actually don't see that.
And that, Joe, will be the greatest tragedy, not just for Mukhisa Kituyi, but for this country, that every political aspirant for the highest office is coming and joining the crowd in doing things the same old way. Nobody is trying to fire up the imaginations of this country just by the simple power of persuasion, simple power of ability to convince people that they are going to lead things in a different direction. Sometimes it's even the people that will, you know, tell you, then this is the direction you would take. It's going to be really, really tragic if all Mukhisa is going to do is to try and get the nearest alliance to fit in. There's something that we are not hearing from our political aspirants, and that is what they intend to do with government. We are talking about the economy. You're talking about these complex issues that are about the running of the country. Our politicians start and end their persuasion with elections. They just want to win. They just want to be president.
Bunduki na risasi.
Yes. looking at risasi and then fire, something is dead, and that is it. And that's a problem. Yeah. There is a problem, because if there is a lesson we are increasingly and must learn as Kenyans, running a government is not a cultural festival. You can't just keep saying you're going to look for your own, from your community. They also must be competent. They also must have the ability to actually bring together the best minds in the country to run the country. Mm-hmm. It's a huge corporation that requires the combination of different competencies that come from different parts of the country.
Interesting.
And if you don't have that ability to do that, it doesn't matter what region you're coming from, you will realize it's not Bomas of Kenya. It's not a traditional dance where you'll run something that is only for, will be understood by only a few people. Running a modern state is complex, and these are the things that Mukhisa Kituyi should be telling us. He should be trying to persuade Kenyans that can we think
differently.
Can we stop thinking along tribal lines? Because right now, Kenyans know that it doesn't help that the president, deputy president, minister, MCA is from your community. If they are clueless on how to run a modern, complex state,
it won't matter.
Then you are going to suffer. You know, when you look at the discussions we're having about BBI, there's something really, really blind about some of the arguments. When people think certain benefits will go to certain regions. This is one economy, one national economy. If it doesn't function well from the top, stop thinking you are going as a region to
benefit.
To
or
benefit.
As a county, yeah.
What we have realized is we are in one pot. It doesn't matter which part of the country you are in, 47 counties. And these are the things we need to hear from some of these people who are trying to run for president. Don't just come and pose with the same usual crowd. And then the next thing we'll hear is you're in Buhungu Stadium.
Now, but now that you brought Libya, I mean, we have to end this show, but we really